The difference between the Astros and Yankees this series is 22 strikeouts. New York has 30 through 2 games, but it's also about 5 feet. Stanton's ball game 1, Judge's ball game 2. So close to getting out. Judge had a 910 expected average. Bregman's home run, the lone Astro run to the game, was under 100. So Severino bemoaning that, calling it lucky. Aaron Boone said the open roof and the wind played the difference. The roof being open was MLB's call pregame. Frank, this is your account, and by that I mean complaining, not New York. How do the Yankees sound talking like that down 0-2, and how should they feel?
Yeah, this is when you need George Steinbrenner around. Can you imagine the screaming that he would do? And then you know what he would do before tomorrow? He'd put a roof on Yankee Stadium and have it closed. But you know what? Severino threw one bad pitch. I don't know how you can call that lucky. Bregman killed that ball. But the Yankees were just unlucky. Defensively, they were good. The pitching was good. They just can't generate enough hits. And in game 1, striking out 17 times, and you're going to sit there and complain? Manufacture runs. My God, it's tough to watch.
Israel Gutierrez.
I mean, never has there been more of a this is baseball type of answer. The home field advantage is what it is. But for Severino, I could understand the starting pitcher is going to be a while before he gets another chance to impact the game, saying, okay, they got lucky. That bothers him because his team's now going home, with an 85% chance of the Astros winning the series, according to history. But Aaron Boone and the rest of the Yankees, they need to calm down, recognize, they just got out-pitched in a pitcher's duel, and now they're going to go home with a chance to even it up.
Woody Page.
What are they thinking? They're thinking we're not going to be in this series very long. Frank, you're sitting there saying, oh, they're unlucky. No, they had, before this series started, 80% of their runs were produced by home runs. Guess what? If you're not going to hit home runs and you're going to strike out 17 times a game, then you're not going to win the series and you're not going anywhere. Houston is a better team. They don't need luck to beat those Yankees.
Neither team is really hitting in this series right now, Ramona. Yankees striking out a whole lot more. How do you view it, 2-0 Houston right now?
Look, I understand what they're saying because Bregman's home run was not hit as hard as Aaron Judge, as the fly ball. The wind was blowing that direction. It's 91.8 miles an hour off the bat, but it went 360 feet to left field because that's the direction it was going. To right field, Judge hit it 106 miles an hour off the bat, okay? So I understand.
I know, but this is the New York Yankees. You don't get to make excuses like that, do you? They have a tweet at the start of the season, talk is cheap, we're the Yankees. And here we are down 0-2. What are they doing, Ramona? They're talking.
They missed DJ LeMahieu. They missed some of their other guys. I mean, they did manufacture a couple of runs in this. I mean, Rizzo had an RBI there. That was in that inning where they scored the 2 runs. But Framber Valdez was great. He had 25 swings and misses, the third most for a pitcher since 2000. I mean, he was great last night. 9 strikeouts, 0 walks.
Anybody giving the Yankees a chance to break it even this weekend at home? Anybody?
Garrett Cole and Cortez are pitching. Absolutely.
Ramona and Frank think it's likely.
Pitching is set up.
All right.
No.
They haven't won in Houston. They're 0-5 this year in Houston. They'll win.
Clippers 103, Lakers 97 last night. The return of Kawhi Leonard coming off the bench, 14-7. Return of John Wall to basketball. That was great to see, 15 points. The return of the Lakers not shooting, 0 of 9 from 3 in the fourth. Westbrook not off the bench, but 0 for 11. Quote, Lakers need to trade Russell Westbrook now. Enough is enough. Who wrote it? Bill Plaschke wrote it. Ramona, you were there. What to buy, what to sell?
It was hard to watch. Look, the Lakers had 2 things that were very broken with their team last year, their defense and their shooting. They've actually gotten a lot better on defense, and I think you have to give them credit. They played the Warriors and the Clippers, probably the 2 best teams in the Western Conference. They looked pretty good last night outside of the shooting. But did you see Russell shoot that ball? The closest defender was 10 feet away from him. I mean, he's not. They are getting the looks. They just can't make them.
Woody Page.
Yeah, after they play the Oklahoma City Thunder, Ramona, I'll text you and say, okay, they played a lousy team now. How did they look? They can't shoot. This is the gang who can't shoot straight. They had the worst percentage in 2 back-to-back games in the history of the NBA. And guess who was 0 for 11 from the 4? That was Westbrook. I agree with Bill Plaschke. It is over. Get rid of him. That's the first thing you must do.
Israel Gutierrez.
They need to move him because he's just sucking the joy out of an entire organization. Not him, but his play, everything around him. There was a scene yesterday where a fan, cursed at him, and he said, "Say it to my face," and he said it to his face, and then Russell just walked back to the locker room. I mean, none of this stuff is really good for Russell Westbrook's mental health, obviously, and it's not going to get any better. So I don't know what you can get back, but it's definitely time to move on from Russell Westbrook.
Isola?
Yeah, it's amazing. It's like 2 games. It's already a disaster. They are 19 of 85 on threes. And guess what? Russell Westbrook has not taken all of those 85 threes. So you could already see where it's going, especially after last night. All the blame is shifting to Russell Westbrook. It goes a lot deeper than that. And you know who knows it? LeBron James.
Roster construction. I mean, they're looking for threes everywhere. Matt Ryan, last seen driving Uber, last seen working at a cemetery, and now he joins this graveyard of a team. Ramona Shelburne, last word.
Look, the pregame, all we talked about was Russell Westbrook not wanting to come off the bench. You know who came off the bench last night? Kawhi Leonard. Didn't hear a peep out of him.
Yeah.
Deebo Samuel on the same offense. What the San Francisco 49ers just did. Also, Yankees say no excuses, so are they excusing? And the art here of Wilson flipping over Dalton. And the drama of clean the forks, Dan! Let's go. I thought it was like a roommate war that you had in college. Clean the forks, Dad. They're in the sink. Who is the second best team in the NFC? It's a question without an answer right now, maybe. Maybe that changed with this Christian McCaffrey trade. A blockbuster, the likes you never see mid-season. San Francisco sending second, third, and fourth round picks this year, a fifth round pick next year to Carolina for, talking about dual threat players in the NFL. Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel. What did the 49ers just do, Frank Isola?
I just love the fact we're talking about a huge NFL trade in October. You very rarely, if ever, see that. But I'll tell you what, they're getting a dynamic player. He's going to make their offense better if, and it's a big if, can he play? The last 2 seasons, 10 out of a possible 33 games. That's all he played. So he misses games, but he does seem healthy now. But I'll tell you what, it's great for San Francisco. I give Carolina a lot of credit. They've pulled the plug on this season. It's about rebuilding, and I think they made a very good trade for a player that they're paying a lot of money to and who, again, misses a lot of games.
Israel Gutierrez.
They elevated themselves to probably a top 4 team in the NFC and possibly better, depending on whether Jimmy Garoppolo can handle the quarterbacking duties this season. I mean, you talk about Christian McCaffrey, and yes, you worry about the health. But you look at him in Carolina, this season played 85% of his team snaps. That's the most of any running back. 40% he accounted for their yards from scrimmage. He might not have to do that heavy a lifting in San Francisco. He can be more efficient with his, not get hit as often and be more efficient with his big plays. And if he is out there, man, you've not only Deebo's a wide receiver who can run it, McCaffrey, a running back who can catch the ball. You have no idea what they're going to do. So if they can obviously stay creative with that offense, you put them right up there. You mentioned who's the second best team? I think that is Philly because I think Minnesota's the best team in the NFC. You've got the Dak-led Cowboys and this team right here. Those 4 teams are the teams in the NFC.
We're going to stop right here. We're going to put a bookmark in that, and I think we'll get to that later. Woody Page. Of course, everybody likes the idea of McCaffrey and Samuel in this offense with Shanahan, but mortgaging the future? What do you think of San Francisco's move here?
Well, the gamblers have already said 18-1 before, 14-1 now to win the world championship. So I think that everybody recognizes this is going to improve the 49ers dramatically and immediately. Let me give you a bit of a side here. Their fathers, Kyle Shanahan's father, Mike, and McCaffrey's father, Ed McCaffrey, were together with the Broncos. So this is going to be seamless when he moves to the 49ers. This is the same system that they grew up watching the Broncos in Denver. So it's going to work out extremely well for the 49ers. People say they gave up too much, second, third, fourth, and fifth. However, they got 3/3 for losing assistant coaches to other teams. So they're really back where they were with their draft choices. This is going to be great. You talked about Israel saying that Deebo was, a wide receiver. They're both running backs. They're both wide receivers. You've got a great combination there.
And Ramona Shelburne, are you as high as everyone else?
Yeah, look, last year the Rams were the team that said F them picks, right? Like, go out and get who you need to go get. And this year, Jeremy Fowler, in his reporting today, said the teams that I heard who were interested but didn't meet the same price that the 49ers did here, Rams and Broncos. This is the kind of trade that one team puts its chips into the middle of the table and goes for it, and the other team doesn't. I think this plays out over the course of the entire year as if he can stay healthy. If he can stay healthy, he's played, as Israel said, 85% of the snaps this year, 5 straight 100-yard games. This could be a game changer.
All right, everybody wants back in on Gutierrez with his NFC pecking order, which has Minnesota 1. Philly 2. Frank, first to you.
Yeah, I wish that they opened up that roof. Maybe they could. They've always been a much better cold weather team. Let me ask you this though: why, if the Niners are going for it, why did they start the season with Trey Lance as their quarterback and not Jimmy Garoppolo? So it's almost this guy gets injured, Garoppolo's in, the old guy's in, and now they're going for it. It's amazing how quickly they changed.
Well, Garoppolo was injured the entire offseason, so they weren't going to go with him. They didn't even use him in training camp. So when you're saying, why didn't they go with him?
All right, you guys are having a different conversation than I thought. Israel, I guess no one wants to oppose you. Minnesota, then, let's just give him the NFC now. Go ahead, Iz.
Well, this answer is part of what Frank wants to know is, the NFC is not top-heavy. The NFC looks winnable. That's why San Francisco made this move. They probably didn't go into the season thinking, hey, Trey Lance is our quarterback. We might be able to get to the Super Bowl, but look what they have in front of them now.
I haven't heard anybody have Minnesota at 1 over what Philadelphia has done to start this year. Woo! Yeah, but your panelists didn't oppose you. There you go, Israel. You got away with it.
Oh.
We move on. Last night, Cardinals 42, Saints 34. The beauty and the art of, Andy Dalton bumming after one of his 2 pick sixes, and Wilson somersaulting in the background. It's just put it in the museum. But also the drama and consequences of Calamari giving it to Cliff Kingsbury like this. Both were downplaying it after the game. Kyler, quote, I guess it's my fault. Kingsbury called it a Gen Z thing. Ramona, you're shaking your head. Does a win make that go away?
No, none of those quotes make me think they like each other. I mean, look, Tony, how do you what's the worst way to get somebody to calm down? Yell, calm down. Come on. As I tell my toddler all the time, when we go fast, we end up going slow. When we go slow, we end up doing things faster. This is not going to work. And they've had this issue before in the preseason. This is obviously an ongoing issue for these guys that they happen to win, but it's still
right. So you connect this to the preseason story we had about, Kingsbury allowed Murray to call plays, and then he realized how hard it was. This is still playing out in the regular season, but they won the game, Woody Page. Does that make it all go away?
Yes, it does. And in fact, I liked it. I mean, you got 2 fiery guys. They're going at it. They win the game. They go from 14-14 to 28-14. They blow the game away at some point. And Hopkins said, it's sort of like a marriage, that they had a bit of a problem. And I certainly can discuss that topic with you if you want me to. But I believe that there was nothing wrong with it. And yes, it goes away.
Yes, you can talk about that topic.
Makes all things
we're not going to ask exactly for the specifics with all that, but you mentioned the score went to 28-14. Had nothing to do with the offense. It was 2 pick sixes. Israel Gutierrez, how about you?
I think it goes away for now. But if, you talked about them downplaying it after the game. I don't think they were downplaying it. I think they were basically doubling down by saying, yeah, that's who he is.
They were upplaying it.
And Cliff Kingsbury saying, well, yeah, I guess it's a Gen Z thing, so I shouldn't be antsy in front of a camera or nervous in front of a camera or animated. And so, yeah, I think if this ever comes to a head again, they will be at each other's throats again. And I don't think that's a good look for a head coach who has to, be the leader of all of these men. When you let your quarterback sort of make you look a little silly on national TV, then it might empower some other people.
It was Murray who was
I think
cursing, not Kingsbury.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right, and he just sat there and sort of took it, and here you have your team leader cursing at you as a head coach. I just don't think that's a good look for the coach.
Right, Isola, they won the game. Does it all go away with a win?
Yeah. I think a little bit does, but I think Izzy's right. I mean, is a young Ben Roethlisberger going to yell at Mike Tomlin? Is a young Tom Brady going to treat Bill Belichick that way? I remember, Bill Parcells screaming at Phil Simms. That's a little bit different. And I actually think it goes back to the playoff game against the Rams, where Murray did not play well, took a lot of criticism, and I also think it includes what he did a couple weeks ago when he slid a yard short and they had to call timeout. Clearly, I think both of them are under a lot of pressure, and it kind of played out last
word, Woody Page.
Well, wait a second. They had lost 8 straight home games. So you would expect some stress there in Arizona, and they got it out of their mouths. They finished with it, and they went on, and they did, even though they
42
scored those
was
2
the
touchdowns
highest
defensively.
watermark for a
Without those
Kingsbury
2 pick
team
sixes.
in the NFL. Though again, 2 of those points, 2 of those touchdowns came on the pick sixes.
Calm down, Woody.
One more story here. 2 NFL headlines of the weekend: the return of Dak Prescott Sunday, Cowboys-Lions, and the return of Tua Tagovailoa Sunday night, Dolphins against the Steelers. A primetime game there, so all eyeballs on Tua. There's a question, I guess, about how you would expect both them to play after time away, but Israel, South Florida, to you specifically with Tagovailoa, how does the primetime return come off, and how is South Florida prepared for this?
Honestly, it comes off as a little bit unfortunate because it will be all eyes on him again, just like the injury against Cincinnati. And if anything goes wrong, it's like, man, everybody's going to have their opinions on him. But in terms of football, if the doctors are clearing him, people believe, hey, this is a Dolphins team that was 3-0, should be really, really good with him. He is a difference maker on this team, and they just kind of, pray that he stays healthy.
Frank Isola.
Yeah, the quarterback of the Cowboys is always under a microscope, but I think for Dak it works out perfectly. Number one, Cooper Rush saved the season with the way that he performed, and he's coming off a poor game, and now you step right into it. For 2, I think everyone is probably concerned. The last thing we want to do is see that guy take a big hit. Everyone's going to hold their breath because that's coming.
But for the doctors to clear him, that is enough for you, Frank?
I'm going to have to trust the doctors. I can't imagine, in this case, after everything that's happened, they're letting that guy go out there and he's not 100%. I don't buy it. Don't buy it.
Ramona Shelburne.
I mean, the amount of controversy surrounding him playing the last time makes me think that there's no way they let him back on the field unless he's passed every test 3 times. Yep. And I really hope that we don't ever come to this decision again or this situation again with him because, you get 1 or 2 concussions, that's something, but you get one after what we all seen. This is where your career is at stake and your life is at stake. And so the amount of pressure on him playing again for the doctors who are clearing him is tremendous.
And Woody Page.
Well, they had 2 options. Say they're bringing him back to the field because the doctors have said he's okay to play again, or 2, just shut him down for the season. Really? Do you think that if you don't trust your doctors, and doctors have made mistakes. We saw one in San Diego when the Chargers actually had a problem with the quarterback because they shot him up before a game, but it's happened before. But I believe in this situation that if you're going to do it, you must do it when the doctors say it, or you say, we're just not going to let you play this year. I think that's the only other option available.
Expectations for Dak Prescott. First game back against Detroit. We talked about Dak Prescott under a little pressure in his return against the Lions this Sunday. Some other quarterbacks with some pressure on them Sunday, and these are all on 3-3 teams. Tom Brady, the Bucs, have the Panthers. Lamar Jackson, the Ravens, versus the Browns. Aaron Rodgers and the Pack at the Commandos. Momo, who has the most pressure on them?
I think it's Tom Brady. Outside of Philly, who's going to win the NFC? It's still wide open, and he came back for a reason because it's wide open. They have not looked the part, though.
Woody Page.
I think, Ramona, it's really Lamar Jackson. He bet on himself this year. He is actually playing for his contract that he could have gotten. So he's got to win games if he wants to get that big number.
Not turn the ball over in the 4th quarter. Points. Woody Page, showdown 2. Were there boos in Philadelphia last night? Did Joel Embiid put up a donut in the second half? Did he leave the arena without talking to media? Yes, yes, and yes. Bucks 90, Sixers 88. Phillies 0-2 after playing Boston and Milwaukee. Something or nothing, Woody?
Well, it's something. I mean, he was checking into the game last night, and he looked gassed going onto the court. He was 0 for the entire second half. This is a guy who keeps talking about wanting to be the MVP. This is not MVP type numbers.
This was a game in Philadelphia where the Bucks didn't have Chris Middleton. Drew Holiday had a bad shooting night. And it comes down, you have the ball in your best player's hand. First, Joel Embiid passes the ball. It's a turnover. Then James Harden wants a foul and doesn't get a call. They should have won the game. And Embiid going 0 for 7 in the second half.
Something or nothing, Ramona. Play the game.
Something.
Nothing. Nothing for you in FaceTime. 30 seconds of face, Woody Page.
Earlier this week, I picked the Denver Nuggets to win the NBA championship, and everybody here laughed at me. Okay, they go out and lose to the Jazz, and you're expecting me to have a mea culpa, mea fool. Well, guess what? They're going to beat the Golden State Warriors in San Francisco tonight. They come home and play against the Oklahoma City Thunder that I mentioned earlier. You don't come crying to me after they're 2-1 with a start and they win the
There it is, Woody.
So,
stick by your take.
there you go.
Although, I was laughing at you because you only mentioned
was
Stan
it?
Kroenke in your answer while picking the Nuggets. You didn't even mention Jokic. Israel Gutierrez, last word to you.
Did you see Thanasis pick his brother's nose for him the other day? Standing rule, you can't pick your family.
Pick! No pick! See you Monday.
Happy Hour